And it's my responsibility to make sure that the people are safe, that Vibarium doesn't fall into the hands of a person like you. Son, we've entertained him enough. This charlatan, reject his request. Oh, I ain't requesting nothing. Ask who I am. You're Alex Stevens, an American black operative, a mercenary named Killmonger. That's who you are. That's not my name, princess. Ask me, king. No. Ask me. Take him away. Who are you? I'm Jajaka, son of Prince Njombo. I found my daddy with panther claws in his chest. You ain't the son of a king, you son of a murderer. Lies. I'm afraid not, Queen Mother. Hey, Auntie. That's it. That's all I got.
I will say I'm actually really impressed in your ability to change between the characters and their accents, and actually could follow exactly who you were speaking and who you're going to be as you went. And let me tell you, I do not want to give you any more confidence than you already have, Frank, but your Michael B. Jordan just hit right there, and I felt it.
Let's do it.
I loved it.
I just love it when he goes, hey, Auntie. Like, it's just like, It's cold. Which, by the way, Michael B. Jordan, Chadwick Boseman, let's say it, Black Panther. Welcome to Wakanda. Oh, sorry, wait. Welcome to the Fiction Podcast with your hosts, T'Challa and...
Man, Justin, we flew right past that intro. We were so excited. More like you were so excited, and then I got so
excited.
I didn't even know where to go with it. But
I didn't even know. I didn't know. But no, we are excited to be back at it. This is season 4 of the Fiction Podcast. If you've been following us, we're going through the ancient world with an asterisk. And we're doing this because of Christopher Nolan's movie, The Odyssey, coming out in probably T-minus 3.5 weeks, maybe. And we are excited to sort of gear up towards that. We started with Homer's The Iliad and The Odyssey, and we've hit some ancient classics in the Mediterranean. We moved into Northern Africa. We went to now West Africa. We did The Woman King last week. We hit Asia. We hit Hero and Mulan, the animated version. And now we're at Black Panther, my friend. So many great things about this movie.
I appreciate that you say the animated version every single time, but come on. They know we're going to pick the animated version. It's the best version. Unless you say otherwise, that we're doing the live action version of one of these films, just assume it's the animated version. I think that's a fair assumption. I appreciate you clarifying.
You got to be clear. Yeah.
Dear listener, just for now on, so my boy Frank doesn't have to say it every time, assume that it is the Disney animated feature film. It is not going to be the Disney live action. All right, done. Said it because they're all better. Sorry. Let's get back to the point. Let's get back to our arguably our furthest from our options of going into the ancient world and bringing in a Marvel movie.
Well. We discussed, right? We're talking ancient world, but I think there are reasons that we hit last week and we'll transition into this week while we're doing this pick. But before we do that, just a little preview, right? For those who follow, this is sort of a podcast that's geared towards folks who've either read or watched the movie and are interested in sort of like getting a different take, getting a nostalgic value from it. Or, Justin hits me every time, or you haven't read it, you haven't watched it, and you're here to just tag along, have a good time, and go, you know what? Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Frank. I will watch that movie, or I will read that book, or in my case and Justin's, listen to that audiobook. So that's what we're here for. So there will be spoilers. That's the whole point.
I was going to jump in and be like, that was a really long way to get to the fact that you were just going to tell everybody we're going to spoil the whole movie in some way.
Yeah, we're going to spoil it. Not like, sometimes we don't spoil it as much. Other times we get too excited and we do. But we like to start with a brief summary. We tend not to spoil it too much in the summary. At least nowadays, I tend not to spoil it too much in the summary.
Wing it, man. Send it.
Yeah. And then we'll break it down, right? We usually talk about why we picked this, right? This whole season's about who's legendary, the ancient world. We picked epic heroes and talked about them and dissected it. So we'll break it down. We'll start, this time we're going to switch it a little bit, start with world building and talk about why we picked Black Panther. Then we'll talk about two of the main characters, the dichotomy and the contradictions, but also the similarities between them. And then we'll hit some themes, talk about some of the characters and some of the game we like to play. And then our two favorite sections, we introduced it this season. We've got the Ron Weasley Award. And for those who don't know, listen to season one, you understand why it's the Ron Weasley Award. We give it out to each movie or book we do, and then we will grade. We love to grade, so we'll grade the book, we'll grade the movie in this case, and I will sign off. So let's begin. Just a brief summary. So, following the death of his father, King T'Challa returns to the hidden African nation of Wakanda to claim the throne and take on the mantle of the Black Panther, protector of the kingdom Wakanda. Wakanda remains in isolation from the rest of the world and has done so for centuries, concealing their immense wealth and technology powered by this metal called vibranium. T'Challa begins his reign. He seeks to honor his father, his legacy, while navigating responsibilities and leadership and traditions and expectations that are beyond him. As his rule moves on, we meet our antagonist, Eric Stevens, aka Killmonger, a former U.S. special ops soldier whose connection to Wakanda reveals a long buried secret about the royal family. Unlike T'Challa, Killmonger believes Wakanda's isolation has allowed injustice and oppression to flourish around the globe. What's his suggestion? Kill them all and let them burn. So here we go. Black Panther.
Man, I think that's excellent because if I were to read this summary, I would have 100% been like, so Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan, and I'd have just gone off and just gone
Yeah.
straight to
Well,
it.
hey, listen,
And
listen.
and
Chad,
that's
pour
I
one out
know
to a fallen soldier, my friend.
he was amazing. He's incredibly
Yep.
talented, and that's because I would have gone there because I think both of those actors are just awesome.
They're
Spoiler,
amazing.
I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll talk
No.
about it, but spoiler,
Yeah.
they're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, looking at, so Michael B, everyone's going to say Michael B. I don't think Michael B is a Denzel Washington. Don't get me wrong. I love Michael B. I love the charisma he puts into his different pieces and how he portrays himself. But dude, man, it's so crazy because I'm a big Wire fan. So The Wire, 5 seasons,
I
HBO. If you
have
haven't seen it, you must. It's a
best
must.
show ever.
Yep,
Period. I'm willing to.
I will
That's
concur. I'll top three, but definitely we can debate, but
yes,
definitely top
but I
three
will
without
happily
doubt.
sit here and defend
Yeah,
best show ever.
and Michael B was a young little actor. Like he was I think was an eighth grader first, and then went to high school, and
Yeah,
you just don't see it. But then you get Friday Night Lights, and then Michael B is just in the lights, right? So I just love seeing his trajectory. So like you said, this movie is about two main characters. There's side characters in there, but yeah, Michael B playing Killmonger and Chadwick Boseman playing T'Challa. So before we hit those characters, though, I did say like because this piece is not. Let's say what it's not. It's not ancient history. It's set in modern times. Oh wait, it's fake. Uh, there is
allegedly,
there is no Wakanda. At least that's what they want us to
allegedly,
believe. People, that's what they want us to
exactly,
believe. It's El
or
Dorado,
in a
baby. It's
different
there.
time,
It lives.
or in a different timeline.
Yep, yep,
If we're gonna run with the whole Marvel theme,
yep, yep. But so it's everything we said we're not going to do. So we, I
that's
want
not
to.
true. I have time and time again said this is our podcast and we can do whatever we want. So we're doing Black Panther.
I love that. I love that. Everything I said we're not going to do, and Justin's like, it doesn't matter what you say. I run this world, and that's true. So
No, no.
you
Okay,
run this
so
podcast. There we go.
I see who you think you are in this film and who you think I am. So I guess I see how you think you're T'Challa and you think I'm Killmonger because I'm just gonna let it burn.
Nah,
I get it.
nah, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah,
It's all good.
that's fine.
But
Fine.
I
I'm
think
fine with that.
it's important for us to sort of talk about why this is something that we both agreed. Sure, let's do it. I'm more of a stickler to like, hey, we have a guidelines. Let's follow it. Justin's more like Pirates of the Caribbean. They're kind of like guidelines, you know. So I think this for me, this goes hand in hand with the world building. Ryan Coogler did an amazing job directing this piece. Ryan Coogler, I love you, dude. I love everything you do. Can't wait for Animorphs. Just saying that. But like, I think the way they depict it, the way they start, and the way they frame this, because this is a society that blends traditional, like West African sort of like culture, vibes, and view with modern technology, but also sort of a nod to the ancient and the ancestors. So I think it's a very well blended depiction. And I think the cinematography is just so amazing in the way that they show Wakanda. Like the outskirts of Wakanda, just sort of like what you see with like, sheep and goat herders and all that kind of stuff, and just pastures and fields. And then you dive into the actual city itself, and the cityscape, like I said, is it feels like Lagos or something like that, or some of those West African big cities, but it's just really clean lines when you get into the palace and everything else. But for me, the reason why this is important to cover is that I mentioned this last week. Hollywood does not do a great job covering ancient Africa in total. And I think for a lot of people, when they watch this movie, they felt some sort of way where it was like, holy, like you were putting power to a society and a culture that didn't really get that respect. I know it's fiction, but I think it's sort of like when you take Wakanda, you're taking some of the great ancient African empires and you're putting it together and saying that is Wakanda. This is what Africans can create when they're given the resources to do so. Um, and so I like looking at that because this whole movie is a wink and a nod to their ancestors, how they lived then, how they live now, and what they're going to do to change to live within society. And it's just a beautiful exploration of different West African cultures, even though it's a fictional movie, they're blending and taking that underlining cultural undertones from somewhere. And I love that it's exploring and showing that to the Western world. Long way of saying, beautifully done. It reminds us of the past, even though it's the present and it's fake.
I don't know if I can say it any better. The only thing I will add, I mean, it is a beautiful movie. I will add and second what you said about, unfortunately, with the choices with Hollywood, the options that were there or that are there to pick ancient civilizations from Africa are very minimal. But I do think that this is what's great about this, in addition to everything you said, is that it does give a nod to a lot of those cultures in a blended way, but it also does it on a massive Hollywood scale that this
Yes.
was Marvel and so much money was put into it. And they were able to blend some of those themes and some of those cultures into this movie, and everyone is going to see it. Not everyone,
Yeah.
but a lot of people. It
Oh,
is,
yeah.
it's a major box office hit, and it's at least it's a step in that direction to getting more films based on ancient Africa or in just set in Africa in that realm. So I loved it. I love it. Great movie.
Yeah.
Done. Podcast. Check.
Yeah. All
Nah,
right.
I'm just kidding.
What's
We'll do
next
more.
week?
I don't even
No,
know.
so what do you think? Yeah. I don't even know either. So what do you think of the world building, man? Like what like we are so Justin and I are like world building geeks. Like it's sort of ingrained in why we love fantasy novels so much. So this I,
Yeah.
I don't know. Take the first cut. What
I think so. I think to look at the world building in this is not to just look at, this is kind of a cop out, but I'm going to do it, is not to just look at Black Panther independently. I think you have to look at the entire spectrum of the Marvel universe and all of the movies that were coming out, especially when we're on the gauntlet of all the big films in the Marvel, which
Okay.
is just this massive list. The whole thing is, I look at it as a one massive world building that is cohesive. And so you get like adapted to the idea that there are superheroes and there are these, there's people out there that have these, like Iron Man, extensive technology, right? And there, these things are possible, and it builds as you go through all of these movies. So that's why I think Black Panther fits seamlessly in. I think if you just took it as a standalone film, the world building is like you said, the cinematography is beautiful. It would still be a beautiful film, but I think the world building works even better because you have all these other films within the lineup that introduce superpowers or super, technology or whatever it is that allow it to be more believable than if you were just to say, okay, here's Black Panther. It's going to stand on its own. It's solo, standalone. I think it does a better job because it has those and it's built right into it. I think the world building just kind of goes seamlessly along with all of that. So, that being said, I think we both agree that world building is a huge reason why we continue series, and that,
Hmm.
if I pick up a series of books or movies, I want it to be a great world building, so it's a great foundation to start. And nod to Marvel, I think they do that with a lot of those movies, and so it allows you to just fall right back into it, even though it's a different storyline, different location. Marvel has done a great job setting it up to just allow you to fall right back into, "Oh, okay, well, this could be whatever, a different timeline or whatever it might be." You
Yeah,
fall right back into it. So, I think it goes
yeah,
seamlessly with that, and I love that.
yeah. No, I agree, and I think it's fun because it's like obviously we have the regular scenes when we're outside of Wakanda, and like you're just seeing every day, whatever. But I think the thing I really enjoyed about Wakanda itself was it sort of reminded me of, so if we go out of the fantasy realm, we hit the sci-fi. Some of the stuff we see is sort of dystopian futures or dystopian past. There's sort of a blend of like when you go to the, like let's say our current day, like if we see futuristic Western society, it's just either like dirty, like New York style or cities, right? Grime and
Gritty.
grit. Yep, but it's still cityscape or just really clean, just like really like futuristic cleanscapes with, nothing there. But what I love about this is like they did a wink and a nod to sort of blending like African, West African sort of culture and societies and sort of the marketplaces we got to see, right? The street and the clothing they're wearing and the fact that even the ground, right, in Wakanda itself was still dirt paths, but they still had like those like electric, carts that were going, with
Yeah.
that energy.
It's
So
like a
it was,
monorail, yeah.
yeah, like it was such a fun way of saying like we're not completely all the way in the future, but we're futuristic, but we're still keeping some of the everyday things that make this culture what it is. I really dug that, and I thought that was fun.
Yeah, and to add along those lines, I mean, the final battle when they're out, like, in the, it's not a prairie, but, like, they're out in the savannah, maybe? I don't know
Call it that.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah,
the
sure.
the grassland.
There you
They're
go.
out there,
The
like, they
grasslands.
did a
Yeah.
really good job of blending, like you said, those things, because it felt very natural for them to suddenly have this final battle and fight, and it just goes right out into that, and they're out this huge scape, in this huge landscape, and then you go back and forth to where the two main characters are fighting, like, on that, like, monorail or whatever, so to speak, that the train that we were talking about, and it goes back and forth from outside to inside seamlessly, and you don't feel like, "Oh, I'm in this futuristic world. Oh, I'm back in the," like, it just
Mhm,
kind of
mhm.
went together and blended, and I think you brought up a good point when they talked about the paths. I think that really did it, like, because they were able to weave them together so well that it didn't, I mean, I don't think it is sci-fi to an extent, but it didn't feel like you were just sitting there hardcore sci-fi on it. I think they did a
Yeah.
really good job blending that together.
Yeah, I mean, they
Was
mix sci-fi with mysticism and, like, even the science went, like, sort of, like, into, like, sort of mystic in a way too with the hard herb that they, like, grounded into, like, liquid that comes, like, what the Black Panther drinks to get their powers and just, it's just it's fun, but okay. I think there's 2, like you said, there's 2 top bills in this movie, right? We've got Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler, sorry. Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman, right?
I gotta say something in that.
Okay, okay.
The ridiculous thing is that you have these 2 gentlemen who are amazing, and the list of other actors
Oh,
in
of
this
course,
film
of
is
course.
also amazing. There's so
I
many
mean,
big names in it.
yeah.
I
You got
get it. We
Forrest
don't have
Whitaker.
time to
I
talk
mean,
about
come
all.
on,
Yes.
you got yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Amazing.
There's
All right,
more,
sorry.
there's more.
Let's
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I know
Oh, yeah.
there's a ton, but let's focus on T'Challa and Killmonger and go that way,
Yep,
and we'll
yep.
focus on those 2 because I know we do, but I just wanted to give a shout out to how
No,
amazing this cast is,
the cast is
and
great,
it's
man.
just
The cast
deep.
is yeah,
It's deep.
yeah.
So,
But let's start with him. Let's start with T'Challa, right? Like, we've got 2 quintessential protagonist, antagonist. I'm gonna argue that the antagonist is complicated. He's complicated. I'm
yeah,
not gonna I'm
I
not
was
gonna
too.
fully bill him as an antagonist, but we're
But
there,
man,
right?
you're
So
you're 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 talking the same thing I was gonna say about him
okay,
too.
okay. Well, let's start with T'Challa though. Like, what do you think about him and his role and sort of how, like to not like, love to
Well
not love? Where
well,
are you?
it's Chadwick Boseman. So how can you not love? How can you not love? He, as you mentioned, he passed way too early, and he was. I didn't know him, but based on reputation, he seems like he was just a wonderful human being, and he was an incredibly talented actor. And pretty much anything I've ever seen him in, I'm like, dude killed it, absolutely killed
Hmm.
it. So first of all, casting was correct. You can't get any better. I thought he was amazing in that. But his character, I think he's conflicted with responsibility and doing what he thinks or knows is right and what he thinks is right, and realizing that the world around him isn't, is there's gray in it. It's not exactly as clear cut as he probably thought it was when he was being raised up. And as Killmonger gets brought into his life and he realizes that his father made some difficult decisions that maybe he doesn't agree with at the time, but realizes that his hero, who is probably his father, was not all perfect. That this perfect king that didn't make mistakes or have to make hard decisions. And I think he realizes that this role that he is taking on as king was probably a little bit bigger than he expected, even though he thought he was prepared for it. So he's got a few layers, not as many layers as the next guy, but he's got a few layers. He's not a full parfait. It's just a little cake on the side. But he's no, I think he's kind of like your, I don't know, quintessential hero that you're expecting to get from a Marvel movie. Is like, he's the good guy. You come in, you watch it. He's the good guy. He's the guy you're supposed to cheer for. It's built that way. I don't think his character is. Maybe you think it's different, but I don't think he's overly complicated,
Hmm.
especially as we get into the next character.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think some of the notes that I had was, you know, T'Challa comes into the movie competent, right? Like he was already wearing the mantle of the Black Panther, even though his father was the king, right? So he still was like their champion while his father was the king. He was, like you said, he's been trained up. He's lived his whole life for this one purpose. And I think like every major lesson in the film comes from him realizing that something in his past generations, namely his father, right? They did something wrong. I think I think in one of the towards the end of the movie where he goes back into this dream state where he's commuting with his ancestors, talking to his dad, and like he sees all of them and his dad, and he just screams like, "You were wrong, right? You were all wrong." Like he was just mad and raw about what happened, with Killmonger, his cousin, right, and the upbringing that he had to live based on his father's decision, and then their isolationistic. Oh my
Isolationism.
god, isolationism. Oh my God, words throughout the centuries on centuries, while the rest of Africa suffers and other countries and people suffer too. So I think he's just coming to grips with understanding the mantle of what he sees as what a good leader should be and what a country should be doing for others and just what people should be doing for people, regardless of who you are. And so I agree with you. Like he's quintessentially who we expect him to be. He's the good guy. He doesn't stray too much into the gray. Um, he's mostly in that level. And like you said, the contradiction between him and Killmonger or in Jadaka is quite it's quite glaring. There's
Yes.
a big yes. One person has layers and the other person is layered onto the top. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
And it's, I'm not, obviously I don't agree. It's right to do the isolationism that they had. Um, but I don't think had Killmonger had come into his life, I don't know. I don't think he'd have done much different. I think I don't know if he would have come to this aha moment, because Killmonger is just so in his face about it that I feel almost it's like a space that he had not comprehended or computed just because he didn't experience it. It also, I'm not saying right or wrong. Well, it is wrong once again, but it is like, it's not easy to make decisions when you're making decisions for an entire group of people. Like they had to make some difficult decisions, and he goes through that. And I think he learns that lesson that it's not. I actually kind of think his character thought it was going to be a lot easier to be king than it actually is. I think
Yeah.
he had to learn
Yeah.
that lesson, and so, yeah. But,
Well, I mean,
like you said, there's
he said he wasn't ready. I mean, he said, like, when he was in the first dream state with his dad, he basically said, I'm not ready. But then his dad's like, whenever have you ever known me to not prepare you for something? And, so like, I think he had doubts,
yeah,
man. He had some doubts.
yeah, oh, yeah, but it's also, I mean, when are you ever ready to take on that mantle? Like, when is someone actually, it's like, it's not heavy as the
Yeah.
head, man, heavy as the head.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well,
that's complete.
yeah.
On that, you flip it, though, and you have this character that I think was very solid and steadfast throughout the movie. But then you get someone who is incredibly up and down and volatile and emotional and just raw emotion, almost like the opposite of the control that T'Challa is in Killmonger. And so, how do you think that plays off each other?
Yeah, I put in my notes because we've covered some different sorts of heroes, putting air quotes here, and I'm not necessarily saying Killmonger's a hero, but just in general, like Achilles was a hero. Some people may not necessarily say Achilles was a hero, but I I I think when we look at this, because we're comparing this to the Homeric Holmes, Killmonger is the closest to Achilles that we have in the Marvel villains sphere. He's driven by rage, loss, wounded pride, and desire for recognition, right? Like those things are similar to like our quintessential Achilles in the Iliad or the movie Troy. I I see him as complicated because sometimes I do see him as in control. I just see him as saying things that people have. I guess I don't know if civilization has moved past, but I say that in just sort of like a tongue in cheek because we say we've moved past some of the things he's saying, but we still do it like we Western civilization and sometimes Eastern
Right.
civilization do it to each other. But I think just an example, point of fact, like the first scene we see him and he's at the museum with I guess like ancient African artifacts and he's saying, I'll just take this from your hands. Like he's looking at the artifacts, he sees something
Yeah.
that has vibranium in it, and he's like, I'll just take it. She's like, that's not how it happens. And he's kind of like, what do you think your ancestors did when they took this from us, right? Like so he is all quintessential terms saying might is right. And for those folks who have been listening for a while, know that everything comes back to Harry Potter or Red Rising. So we kind of say like for the greater good, right? Like it's sort of if I have the power to make the change, I will do it. And it doesn't matter how I do it, as long as I make the change and for the better. And the better is whatever I feel is better. That's the whole slippery slope with Killmonger and what he's doing. But what he's doing is basically saying, hey, Western civilization basically came in with guns and fire, conquered Africa, enslaved us, took our artifacts, and now we're impoverished. Why can't we do the same to them and bring ourselves back from poverty, right? Obviously, there's morality and codes that people abide by and things like that, but he's just saying, like, you did it to us. Why can't we do it back to get back to power? And it's not a right or wrong. No, it is a right or wrong, but it's also a
We're gonna be
listen,
saying that all
man.
episode.
Listen. I, I'm all about law and order, right? I am a lawyer, so I should say that. I should say that. That is a disclaimer. But I'm like, when he's talking, man, I'm like, hmm,
You
hmm.
you
He's
understand,
got a point, you know?
you can see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
100%. You can see where he's coming from, and I think that's kind of why you wonder if he's full out villain or not. So I ask you this, and on that is, so you have on the spectrum, I'm gonna use my hands here, is like over here is villain and over here is hero, and then you have like an anti-hero and an anti-villain, and I think that, T'Challa's on the far hero side, but you kinda mentioned it, where does Killmonger then fall in that realm? Is he villain, straight up villain, anti-villain, maybe even anti-hero? I don't know how far you're willing to go, but I know that you and I kind of hinted at the start, so I kinda would be interested to hear what your thoughts are where he falls.
Yeah, like I every time I rewatch it, I always like go back and forth with sort of my viewpoint of where should he fall, where should he be? I obviously think there there are ways you could accomplish what you want to accomplish without how he set out to do it. Like this
Yeah.
man was like, let's just go burn New York, wherever else they were like going out to, right? So I don't think he's wrong in the sense of there is a great injustice done to a lot of people, a lot of populations. And we can't just be sitting here in isolation when we have the power to change that. That's not wrong.
Yeah.
I do think he is a little bit wrong. He got a little bit ahead of his skis, just a bit, I mean, okay, let me not lie, just a lot of bit.
Just
So
a
I feel
lot.
a lot of bit, but I see him as like a take a Punisher, right? We know Punisher is in the deep gray. I'm using sort of like comics,
Yeah.
DC, Marvel, all that stuff. Like we know he's in the deep gray. But if Punisher had the power of Wakanda behind him, you bet he'll be doing exactly what Killmonger wanted to do, right? So I feel like we're definitely we're definitely in that deep gray for him. Like he's getting pretty close to full villain, but it's I think his ideas are correct. It's just the way he's executing those ideas.
So I think to use your example, Punisher is an anti-hero.
Yep.
So he is the hero, but he's going about it in probably the not best of ways. And that's where Killmonger isn't quite the full out villain that we want, or that not what we want, but that we're used to getting. He is an anti-villain. And the reason so I bring it up is because it's like their motivation of an anti-villain. I'm gonna even pull one from you, is I'm gonna read it. And something I never do. But it's driven by an understandable, sympathetic, or even noble goal. But they're morally compromised. They're willing to cross lines. They're willing to use death, destruction, terrorism, and they stand in the way of the protagonist. But the audience can sympathize and understand why he might be doing what he's doing. So that is his character, I think, just wrapped right up there as an anti-villain. But I it's maybe I do just really love villains in a lot of ways. Like we all do. Let's be honest. As we get older, we all enjoy a good villain. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Killmonger, one of the best.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael B, for delivering on that character. On that note, I went off on a small rabbit hole going through Michael B when he was I was reading some articles and some interviews he did, and how deeply this role affected him and how much he struggled during and after, because I guess not guess, my understanding is he separated himself from his family, from his friends, and really isolated himself to really find that raw emotional anger that you see. And he got really deep into this character when you hear him talk about it in interviews, and he struggled to then get out of that character afterwards because he put himself in such a dark place to really embody that anger. And I think he does. I'll tell you, I all respect for being able to do that. I don't know if I could isolate myself like that and actually find that role and that anger, but you see it, especially when he is explaining who he is. You can feel that emotion come off the screen. And I mean, I appreciate the sacrifice that he made as an actor because he nailed it. He
Yeah.
absolutely nailed it.
Yeah. I think my fa- so my favorite piece was again one of my favorite pieces is the intro that we did, but another one like you know like you said like you talked about the anti-hero and how he isolated himself to get into that mode, but like it's talk about morality being compromised, right? And so he explains in the battle like what he did to get here. He killed his own people. He did this. Like he was morally compromised. But the
Wait,
ending, man, the ending. So T'Challa fights Killmonger. Listen, it's a Marvel movie. We're gonna know good guy kind of wins, right? So spoiler, that's a spoiler.
spoiler! There it is. We were waiting for it.
Yeah, you get it, you get it. But so Killmonger is dying, and T'Challa's like, he's like the good guy. He's like, oh, you're gonna kill so many people, but you know what, my cousin? He goes, we can still heal you. And Killmonger just looks at him and like it's like half disgust, just half like, and like he says, like, why? So you can lock me up? Nah, just bury me in the ocean with the ancestors who jumped from ships because they knew death was better than bondage. And I just, that's poem, man. That's just like poetic. Like it's just like the imagery I get from that, and then he takes he takes whatever's just keeping him alive. The dagger that is right where it's like you pull it out, you're gonna die. Just pulls it out and just like and I just love that piece, like because they knew death was better than bondage, and like that to me epitomizes like who he was and like the ethos that he lived by, and I again not I think Ryan Coogler and I think even Stan, right? Because Stan had to greenlight this whole Black Panther thing. I think they all wrote a very good character, and obviously there's comics to back that up. But I think they really wrote someone that makes you. It's not like I know some people were like, "Frank, what are you talking about? He's a villain. Get out of here." But I think if you actually look at the nuances, right? He's what I like about this anti-hero, this villain, is that he actually makes you question some of your judgment. And the fact that you mentioned this, Justin, the fact that T'Challa changed the way that he governed based on his interactions with Killmonger shows that, yeah, like though Killmonger had some things wrong, he influenced him because he knew that some things he was saying was right. So I think that's just like a powerful imagery that I love that ending because of that.
That I mean, I got goosebumps when you read it. I when that whoever wrote that, it was just beautifully written. I can't add
Yeah,
anything else to it.
Togo,
When
Togo.
I didn't remember that line from the last time I watched this, and then having just rewatched it, I was like, that line hits. It's just
It
beautifully
does.
written.
It does. It does. All right. So, question for you then.
Mhm.
This whole
Fire
season's
away.
about, yeah, who is legendary? All right. So do we think that our dudes, T'Challa and or Killmonger, do we think any one of them fit into the ethos that we've described as legendary so far? We've got Odysseus, Achilles, Leonidas, we've got Mulan, we've got Nameless, we've got Broken Sword. Do these boys, do they fit in? We also got Daniska. Sorry, I forgot about Daniska. You know, and now way she's getting
So
to legend. She's not quite there yet. So do they
that's
fit into?
all right. I'm gonna sit on a fence post here. No, I'm this is tough because I have to try because part of me does just wants to say no because I feel part of being a legend, right, is that it's over time and it goes and it goes and it goes and the story is told over and over and the legend of Achilles or whatever, whomever it might be, is told, and so the legend grows and it grows and grows and grows. And this really hasn't had the time to grow, right? Or to go through that route. But what I will say, so no, I won't say either of them are necessarily legendary.
Okay,
If for the flat out answer.
okay,
But
okay.
I can get on board with the legend of Black Panther
That's okay.
because
You beat me
it
to it.
is over generations. It's not
Okay,
just T'Challa, it's all of the individuals that put on that mantle. So I'd say the
okay.
legend of Black Panther is that's a legend.
You beat me to it. That's what I was gonna. I was
Sorry.
definitely gonna go there. Killmonger is not legendary. I think he is. I think he is an anti-hero, and I think he asks questions that we should be thinking on. T'Challa, I do think if Chadwick, if he hadn't passed away, I think probably Marvel would have done a little bit more with him.
But yeah.
And I think that we would be getting knocking on Legend's door. But I agree with you. I think the Black Panther, the fact the symbol of the Black Panther, the symbol of Wakanda and the Black Panther together. I think that is like the protector, the legendary status. Like whoever wears the mask is Black Panther. It doesn't matter. There was T'Chaka, then there was T'Challa, and now it's Shuri. Which, listen, we don't need to get into it. I would not recommend Black Panther 2. Just saying that, just saying that. Let's just go away from that. Let's come back to Black Panther. But Shuri is now the
Focus.
Black Panther, right? Yeah, focus. And you know what? Some people were saying they're going to bring back Michael B. Instead of him letting himself die, like they're bringing back to life, and he's a Black Panther. I have no clue. But anyway, the legend of the Black Panther is it. So I agree with you. I think that does hit it. And obviously, it does hurt a little bit that it's fictional, but I do think that but that is legendary status. In my opinion. So I'm glad we agree. We agree on that one.
Hey, look at that. We usually
Yeah,
agree
yeah,
because we have great opinions.
yeah.
It's because we have the right
Well,
opinions.
we have the right opinions. I think there's three sections I want us to hit, but before we do that, just quickly because there are a lot of themes in here, but I do think the one that sort of speaks interesting questions is this is a theme of isolation, right? Like Wakanda, so they didn't say when, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read fully the comics and everything else that goes with the
Yeah, I
Marvel
haven't
verse,
either.
but like ancient times, Vibranian, they've been in isolation for as long as society can remember, right? So what are your thoughts on that? Like, is do they owe us anything, or should they just like is T'Challa wrong to bring him out of isolation? Like, they have a I wouldn't say perfect society, but they seem to have a well functioning society. Are they wrong by risking that to help us or their fellow countrymen because of what things have happened, or should they be part of the world?
I definitely think they should be a part of the world. I'm not gonna support isolationism. I think that as just a human here on Earth, if you have something that you can, like, give that is going to change the entire world for the better or has the potential to do that, then I think it's your duty as a human, as an animal here on this planet to do that for those who can't. There's a lot of bad in the world, but there's also a lot of good, and there's a lot of innocent that get affected by both, but especially the bad that don't deserve that. And so I think, yeah, I'm absolutely 100% in support of them coming out to help however they can. Don't have to give away all your weapons secrets, but man, help with medicine and, you
Okay,
know,
okay.
maybe keep the
So
peace. I don't know.
you agree with Nakia, T'Challa's love interest, and Killmonger on this. So
Yeah.
you're with the
I
war
mean, I
dog
don't
and you're
agree
with
with
the war terrorists.
I I don't agree with I don't agree with Killmonger's tactic in doing it. I'm not quite to the Joker where everybody just wants to watch the world burn, but
Yeah,
I think that yeah, I think they have a duty to share that. Just like I
yeah.
think, a country that has infinitely more wealth has a duty to help other countries that don't have that.
I will say, like, I do think Killmonger was in a tough place when he said he just wants it to burn.
Yes.
I think in reality, yes, he does want it to burn, but he wants the equilibrium to come back. So, but yeah. I can see
I
him being
mean,
Joker too.
he
Yeah, I
had
can see that.
you needed something that was gonna say, you know, kill the flames. He had to burn off some anger somehow.
Oh yeah,
And this is
yeah,
just how
oh
he
yeah.
chose to do it. It's too
Dude, he's an
bad.
angry man. An angry
It's
man.
too You know what? It's too bad he couldn't have been around and been like, "You know what? I'm so angry. This Thanos guy and I are gonna have a little chat." And, let Michael B help there.
You know what? He actually would have been good with Thanos, I think. I think he's like, "Yes, let's trim the world down a little bit and, like, maybe" I don't know, man.
Yeah, but
I
I think he Thanos wanted to do it randomly. I don't think Killmonger
yeah.
would have randomly
Well,
wanted to.
Killmonger would be like,
He would have
"Listen."
wanted to he
Yeah,
just
he would, like,
targeted
random
certain
targeted random
Yes. The
disappearances.
top
That's the
the top percent, we'll just say the top percent of the haves are in
yeah,
deep
yeah.
if Killmonger gets a hold of that gauntlet.
Oh, yeah. 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 Okay. So, we have 3
This
fun
is really
sections left.
sorry.
There
I'm going through my head now of all the different Marvel villains or just any villains and what they would do if they had the Infinity Stones in that gauntlet. And I'm like, "Oh, man, that's a scary route to go
well,
down. I apologize.
here's the thing, though.
I went off into a
I mean,
different universe."
well, going into a different how many Marvel villains could actually handle the power of that? That's
Well,
you gotta
none,
ask
but
yourself.
the whole
Yeah,
point
there you
is if
go.
they could, what would they do with that
There you go.
power?
Fair, fair. Alright. Well, we have the power. It's called the heat map. uh, He-Man. Anyway, we're totally random. Okay, back to this.
We are I'm ready to
Listen,
lose it.
we're just walking like quotes for different movies and
We
books,
have
so
the
that's probably a
power. Sorry.
problem. Yeah. Anyway, heat map. We like doing this because it gives us a chance to bring in some of the other characters that we don't get to talk about. So today, Justin, you actually can go on a little bit of a tangent because I know there's other characters you want to talk about. I'm not going to hit them all, but you might find another one you want to toss out for a heat map. So what we do is like, in this case,
I added a
think
couple
about them
to
in this movie. awesome. Think about them in the movie, right? Like when they came on stage, when they were there, were they hot, like fire? Like you were just like can't keep your eyes off them. They stole the scene, was
Oh,
there.
whoops,
Were
not
they
yet.
warm? Just good character. They just brought good vibes throughout. Were they tepid? You're like, take it or leave it. They're here. Or were they cold? Where you're just like, I'm okay, bro. I'm okay, sis. Like, I don't know. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to hit some characters at random and go back through that. So starting, I think we have to start with the general, Okoye. Okoye, sorry, I was like Okoye. What do you think about her? Also in second season of The Walking Dead, amazing. She was in that. Everything else, I can say yes to or no to. But anyway, Okoye, what do you think about her? Hot, warm, tepid,
Hot, man.
or cold?
Hot. Her character
She was
burned
fire.
hot too.
Yeah.
She was passionate. She she had, I wouldn't say it's blind loyalty to Black Panther, but to T'Challa, but I think she was just awesome. She was just a badass and liked her on screen. I thought she, did a really great job with the character in general. And every time she was on there, you're like, she's gonna do something kind of badass, just fighting or resisting or whatever it might be. So really, really love her character.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to myself, like, I wouldn't mind seeing her with the powers of the Black Panther and see where she's at.
Me
But
too. It would be, she kind of reminds me of the Valkyrie from Thor, like the two of them.
yes,
You know what I'm talking
yes,
about?
yes.
Like, and
I
she
do.
and
I do.
The Valkyrie takes over when Thor leaves New Asgard to go find himself because he's kind of lost
Yep.
himself, and he goes with the
Yeah.
Guardians. And then, but it would have been sweet to see her pick up the mantle as Black
Yep.
Panther. I would
Yeah.
have preferred that.
Yeah. I would
I
have
prefer
enjoyed that
that.
seeing that too. Okay. Umbaku, the leader of the Jabari. Witness the might of the Jabari firsthand. Sorry, I just love that dude. Love that scene. Anyway, keep going.
So I'm gonna go warm
What's wrong with you?
because, well, because I thought the
Oh, yeah.
general
Yeah.
Okoye. I thought that I'm losing my mind, just like you were. All right, isolationism, Frank is. I thought he was good, but I just thought she was better. I thought she was more just dynamic. But what I did like is I will give shout out why he's warm and not tepid is because he had some good lines, and I love when he said he was going to feed what was it, Everett
Agent
to his
Ross's.
kids, yeah,
Yeah.
to his kids, and he starts laughing. He goes, "I'm just kidding. They're
I
vegetarians,"
just think
and
we're
like
all
he's the only
vegetarians.
one. He's the only one laughing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny. But I went with warm, so I like his character, but didn't like
Yeah.
fall in love with his character. I feel like
Dude,
you're going hot.
he steals the scenes. Oh, the Jabari when they're coming in for the battle, when he makes a joke to Agent Ross, when T'Challa and his
Maybe
family are all talking about the war and like how they're gonna fight, and all of a sudden you got M'Baku going, "Are you done? Are you done?" Like just kind of like you're in my palace, man. What are you doing? And then witness the might of the Jabari firsthand. Mm, I just love
maybe
him. I just
maybe
love him.
maybe the difference is that he is seeking to be
He's
the weak
hot,
chick.
hot,
Maybe
hot.
maybe it's because he's intentionally trying to come in and steal the scene. Like maybe it's too over the top. He shows up late
Mm,
just in time to steal the scene. He shows up late to challenge to be the king just in time so he can cause the
that's
scene.
him.
He's man, I
Don't
mean
be a
it's a little
hater.
too intense.
Don't be.
Hey, I respect you. I
You just hate
respect
it.
that choice.
All right.
I don't
All
hate it.
right.
I respect it.
What about Nakia, the war dog, T'Challa's love interest, and future prince, a future queen, I guess. Never materialized, but anyway.
Tepid.
Is this tepid? Are you tepid?
Yeah, I think it's tepid. I think it's tepid.
Hmm.
I just like the general so
Hmm.
much more. And I feel the scenes that she's in where they are really good scenes, it's the general's also there. And so she steals it. And so I think she's just overshadowed because of that. It's not bad. It's just temperature, just it's like lukewarm. If I go cold, that's like you gotta go. But I usually save my cold for my Ron Weasley Award. So
That's fair. I'm between tepid and warm.
yeah, see, we're not far off.
Yeah, but you just said tepid. I'm just telling you where I'm like in between a faucet here. I can't quite
Yeah.
fix it. I don't know where she's at. But I liked her.
So like
She didn't drive the
weapon,
narrative, but I liked her. I liked her. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay.
weapon.
What about Shuri? Princess Shuri, T'Challa's sister.
Dictionary, but not as the Black
Okay.
Panther. So we're gonna focus on just this one.
Just yeah, we're not going to
Just
two. We give
right
it
here.
don't
I'm gonna
just
go
here.
I'm going warm. I'm going warm. A solid warm too, because I think she's funny and she's very intelligent, and, I just like her character. I like the actress. I think all of that's there. I think the character's, entertaining, and I like that she's like the not God, who is it? It's not Moneypenny. Who is it in James Bond that does all the gadgets and all that stuff? I feel like you should know this. You know what I'm
I
talking
should.
about?
I know you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes.
whatever.
I
But
can't remember. Can't
sorry,
remember.
we're just really not hit firing on all cylinders today.
No, we're not. We're not.
But I like her character. I like her character. I think she's like I said, she's funny and she plays a crucial role. And I like that she doesn't just use like some like brute strength or fighting. She uses like her mind to really show her talents. And she's like a very intelligent individual in this one. She pulls it off.
Yeah. No, she's warm for me too. I love her scenes. I love her one-liners. I love it when he's getting crowned the Black Panther. She's just like, who challenges him? She puts her hands up. And she's like, I'm wearing a corset, and everyone's like,
Yes.
shut up, man.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like her.
Yeah.
I like her
She's like
zeal.
she does a good job of being like the younger like sibling in that.
Oh, yeah,
And she's like,
she's like she's
there.
jokey. She doesn't have like when he comes into her lair, her science
Yeah.
shop, and he's wearing his sandals. And she's like, "What are those?" And it's like, "Why are
Yeah.
your toes out in my shop?" Like I love her lines.
I do love the line. It's super corny where she goes, "Do you like them? I'm calling them sneakers because you can't hear." And I'm like, so
Yeah,
corny
yeah,
and such like a terrible joke, but I am
it was
all
awful.
for it. I was like, "Oh, clever."
Yeah,
All right. My
it's not great, but it's great because her delivery. So yeah, I like it.
all right, the 2 I added.
All right.
So, Zuri, which
Yep.
is Forest
Forrest
Whitaker.
Whitaker. Yep. I'm gonna go tepid for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like I like Forrest Whitaker, and I love that he is sort of like the shaman, the kind of guy. But his character in general, one, he's a snitch. Sorry.
Yeah.
And two, he holds stuff back from T'Challa. And like, I'm just kind of like, even though he does it out of love, but still. So he's a tepid for me.
Yes. I Okay, sorry, I'm going back because I just looked it up. It's Q. Q is the one that gives James Bond all of his gadgets.
Yes.
Okay,
There you go.
so I would agree, tepid. I don't like love the character. I maybe even a borderline cold on his
Ooh,
character, but
okay.
I love Forrest Whitaker, and I think he's such an amazing actor.
I do love him.
I had to bring him out there, and then we will go with Ulysses.
You know what? So the main baddie, he's the one who steals the vibranium in the first place. He's
Uh-huh.
warm, man. He's just a crazy. He's psychotic crazy. I just love that actor in general, and he plays his role to a T. Even when he's in the interrogation booth and he's looking at the mirror and he starts singing that song, like
Yes,
don't hurt me.
yeah, 100%.
Like I
Yeah,
so he's warm for me. He's almost hot, but he's warm. He's warm.
I'm gonna go hot. I'm gonna go hot. I
Okay.
think he's
I
good
love it.
comic relief. I think
Yep.
he offers something at the start of the film as they're building this plot line and the story in the background. I mean, it's not really in the background, but as they're getting Michael B. Jordan up to speed and they're doing all of this, I think that Ulysses offers, a little bit more action or entertainment while we get all of this backstory built. So you're kind of distracted, like kind of a misdirection thing. So you don't just feel like, oh, we're watching another story build. And, shout out to Andy Serkis, who also plays Gollum. And, I have a bonus episode in my back pocket. And let me tell you, if we can get our guest Brandon, he does a good Smeagol impression. So we
Okay.
might have to get a
Okay.
few beverages in him to bring that out. So
Yeah.
shout
Let's
out
do
there.
it. Let's do it. All right. Well, those were good ads. And that leads us, right? So we've talked about there's a lot of warm, hot characters. But that's a problem, Justin.
I'm
That's
ready.
a problem
I'm ready.
because our next session is the Ron Weasley Award. So for folks, listen to season one when we did our profile of Ron Weasley. We did it of main characters and side characters, and Ron was one of them. So Ron Juan Bilius Weasley. The reason we dubbed this the Ron Weasley Award is we take someone who brings the main character down. right? They bring nothing on their own, so they have to leech onto the main character. But then, even when they do that, they bring that character down. Unfortunately, that's what Ron Weasley did to Harry Potter. And in this movie, we're going to find out which character we think is well deserved of the Wan Belius Weasley Award. Do you want me
Okay.
to go, Justin, or do you want to go?
Oh, no, I'm going. I'm amped. But if you don't mind, I'm amped. But I also want to add this award also. I mean, you can go. So if I don't steal it, we'll let you.
It's
Anyway,
all good.
I want
It's
to
all
just
good.
add that this is also just a character that annoys the living heck out of us and
That's
really
fair.
frustrates us. So I'm adding that in there. It doesn't just have to be someone
Yeah.
who just brings character. So I actually lied. I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
You want to let me go?
I am ready to go, but I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. Well, all right. Okay. Listen, this is going to be not as popular, I think, with some folks, but for me, there are a couple of winners, but this is hands down the winner for me. So the winner of the Ron Belius Wan Weasley Award goes to Wakabi.
Yes, yes.
Wakabi.
That's yes. I'm so
Okay,
happy.
listen.
I
The
was
sad thing is,
yes.
I like Daniel. So if you Wakabi, probably better known for the main character in Get Out.
Yep.
I
What
think I
nut
love him.
crazy movie.
Great. Oh, that's an amazing movie. I think he's a great actor. So this is no shade to him. But his
Agreed.
character, my dude, what no loyalty do you have in your bone right now? Right? You were supposed to be T'Challa's best man. That's at least how I thought you were watching
Keep
this
cooking,
movie.
Frank.
And then he fails in getting, obviously getting, sorry, Ulysses, back in, and then you just turn on him and you go to Killmonger, a dude you hardly met, a dude you just saw off the streets, and you believe his stuff, and then he says he's gonna make the world burn, and you're like, cool. Now, not only are you cool with that, you see T'Challa back, and you still fight him, and your wife, I guess wife, I don't know if they're married, but his
Love
his
interest.
beloved, his love interest is saying, stop fighting this stupid fight, dude, and he's like, nah. So he fights his love interest, he fights T'Challa, and then T'Challa wins, and all of a sudden he's like, my boy
It
T'Challa, we're back, right? Nah, don't work that way. I cursed, I did
a
it, but it just don't work that
100%.
way, man. Does not. Mm-mm.
You nailed that. The only thing I'm going to add, chef's kiss, cherry on top, is that your pet rhino doesn't even want to fight against you or fight against them. Your
Yep.
pet loyal rhino doesn't even want to
Yep.
go through. Frank nailed it.
Mm.
That's why I had to give you a shot. I was like, please, you got this. It's right there.
No, that one
100%.
was like, I was just like, dude, man, how many skins are you gonna wear? Like, how many shape shifting you gonna make right now? Like,
Agreed.
trust me, I understand his rage and whatever, but it was just like, nah, man, you just flip flop too many times, and your loyalties just kept on moving, and yeah, he's hands down to me the Ron Weasley Award winner. So,
Yep. Yes, you nailed it.
congratulations.
I have nothing else to add. I've never been more proud of you in my entire life.
Thank you, thank you.
I
All right,
just that
so
was beautiful.
I love it. I love it. All right, we're at the end, man. We're at the end. We got one more thing to do. We got to grade this movie. You want to quickly wrap in what our
Yeah.
grading
Well,
scale is?
just we'll do it quick, but we had a professor back in college that gave us a grading scale when we were there. That was C is average. So an average movie is a C. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just what an average movie is. You get through it, or a book. You get through it. You watch it. B or B minus or B plus is actually good work. It's a good film. It's recommended. It's better than average. So you'd watch it again. I'd say most of the stuff we pick is going to be in that B high C plus to B A range, because we're not going to make ourselves go back and watch something we don't really want to watch. So warning. And then A is absolutely excellent. You have to be in that A tier for us. You've got to be way, way up there. And you just have to be some film that just completely either changed the way things were done, or just blew the roof off of it and how great it was.
Amazing.
So that being
All
said,
right.
without further ado, since I'm being so generous today, Frank,
Ooh.
why don't you hit us with your grade?
This is tough for me because this does not have nostalgia points for me, but
Yeah.
it does have like I as gonna this is probably the first time I've said this. I'm hoping people realize this if they were just listening. But I, as a black man, like watching this movie again, even if it's fictional, it's like it's the fact that you're bringing in a powerful black civilization and having them have autonomy and control and doing it in a fun, cheeky way because that's what Marvel does. And then obviously mixing that in for me with a little bit of it's sci-fi, even though it's the present. And then mixing it in with like the Marvel fun when Marvel was on its game because Marvel has dipped. Marvel has
Oh
dipped.
yeah.
So mixing all that together is just a cocktail of just amazing fun for me. So this movie on fun points wins me over every time, all time. But I like for me, like I've given one action flick an A minus, even though I don't think it has all the hits, and that's Lord of the Rings because of so many things I'm not going to go into right now.
First of
But
all,
we agree to
world of its
disagree.
own,
We
league of
agree to
its own.
disagree. We agree to disagree. But I think for me, like I do need for myself, like whether it's a book or movie, I do need the internal drama, the dialogue. I do need the characters to have deep not backstories and say, but just believability and like just that. What
You
Black
want characters that are parfait. You want a lot of
Yeah,
layers.
exactly, a lot of layers. And what Black Panther does is it gives you some layers for characters. It gives you the imagination to think about them. The worldscape is great. The battle scenes are amazing, but it's still missing that drama, that dialogue, like sort of like when you're looking at a movie to really carry you some of those layers. Now, I will say this as a fairness. TV series can do this better than movies. Books can do it better than movies because you just have longer to be with it. So with all that being said, I think this is a good movie. It does have some things to improve on it. Like I said, and as far as the whole character development, the dialogue from set to set, it has good one-liners, but it's missing some of that internal dialogue. Everything else from me wins and sings. So to me, it's a B plus. I wanted to go A minus, but I'm not quite sure. I was trying to say A minus, but I'm not.
I
B plus.
I
It's
hear
a B
everything you
plus.
said. I hear everything you said. I wouldn't add too much to it other than, how great the cast was and Chadwick and Michael and, how great they are at their roles and how just phenomenally they nailed those characters. But that being said, I'm at a B. So I thought it was very I think it's a good movie. But there were some scenes like as I rewatched it again, like it'd been a little while. I actually think you and I might have seen this in theaters together, to be honest. Like I think we were down in like Southdale when we went and saw this together, but I could be wrong.
Hmm. Could be. Actually, could be.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I think Luke was there and it was like a
You
packed
know what? You
theater.
might be right.
Anyways,
Yeah, you might
yeah.
be right. Yeah.
So shout out Luke. And so I give it a B. I think it was a good film. I remember seeing it. I think I probably liked it more at the time. And then I went back and watched it now, and I was just like, there was just some things that I was like, like, just that just didn't quite get me over it. And that was, and you can dispute me on it, but like, T'Challa was obviously Black Panther and he was used to being Black Panther. So he was used to fighting like that. And then I love Killmonger's character, but the role that he played and where he said he went, now he suddenly comes in and he can fight Black Panther like Black Panther. He was not spending all those years fighting like Black Panther. He was using other weapons to his abilities, I'm sure,
You
during
never
that
know,
time. So
man.
I found it a little there's some
I don't know,
things like
man.
that that just kind of like didn't quite get me there to, that like B plus A minus range. But I thought it was very good. I mean, a B is not a bad grade. I'd rewatch it. It's a
He's a
good
good
grade.
grade. It's a good
I
grade.
just went through and explained that. So I gave it a B.
Well, here's the thing, because I think if we rewind to last week, we talked about the Woman King. I gave it an A minus, and there's some other tangential reasons why I went there, and you gave it a B plus. So to me, I do think that's fair because I do think we both agreed that that was the way that movie was set up. We think that
Yes,
movie was better than this movie. So in a way, it's
I would
like, yeah,
agree.
it could be also a B plus for you, but it being a B
Yeah.
scales to where we were.
That's a better
So
movie.
yeah,
That's a better
yeah,
movie.
yeah. So I mean, like, I think we both agree this is something to watch. I definitely think it's something you should tune into if you have not. If you have, it doesn't hurt to rewatch. I mean, it's one of those things where you can tune in and tune out at the same time. But I think it's definitely brings layers to it. We've got two characters who are not quite legendary, but they are at least have one has layers and the other one's layered. So I think it makes for a beautiful mix. Good actors in it. But I think for us, Black Panther actually is asking the same questions that we've asked all throughout our season 4. Who gets to be a legend? And what do people owe to themselves and those who come after them? And I think that's a good sort of wrap around of what Black Panther has done. So ultimately, this was a good movie, a good watch. We are going to come back next week. Justin and I actually don't know which one we're going to do.
I
I
have
think
no
we've got a
idea.
couple. We got a couple on the list that we're thinking for next week. We got a couple books that we're putting off because we know there's going to be like, we're going to have to really grind to, because we've read these books, but we have to like grind to like get back in them. We've got The Northman, which again, not fully ancient, but it's ancient kind of Viking sort of culture that I think mixes into. We've got Rage of Dragons, which is a book. We've got the Kong Eagleton books talking about Julius Caesar and Genghis Khan. So we've got a couple things on our radar. So we're going to keep it a surprise as Justin and
Yeah.
I
After
mull over what we're going to
yeah,
do.
after we just did Black Panther for this season, I think we're going to be just fine on those things you just mentioned.
But yeah. So if you've enjoyed what you've listened to, what you've seen, please whatever venue, whatever streaming. Wow, I can't talk. Whatever source you're listening to, whether it's Spotify, Apple,
Spotify, Apple
YouTube,
Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram.
what,
Boom. You can hit us up
what?
at the Fiction Podcast on all of them or the
Thank you.
Fiction Podcast on gmail.com.
Justin's just what he's got it. He's back,
I've been
baby.
holding out on you.
He's back.
You know what?
He's been
Hit
holding
us up
out.
on any of those. Slide into Frank's DMs.
Don't do
He'll
that.
be waiting.
Don't do that. Don't do that. But also like us, follow us, subscribe. That really does help. And we do take your feedback. I hope for those who have commented, I hope you've seen that. And we're here to listen, here to make this podcast something that you can enjoy because we enjoy it and we want you to enjoy it as well too. So till next week when we decide exactly what we're gonna do. Cheers.
It's a surprise. Can't wait.
All right.